Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. Boy, every once in a while, the universe sends me a gift. And recently, the universe did send me a gift because since I started this show, I have had more people email me asking me to cover this certain individual that we will be discussing tonight, and that is Michael Salla. Now, for those unaware, if they're the best thing that I can tell you about Michael Salla is, first of all, he was once a very educated, well-respected man, and worked at a college. He was an academic, and somewhere along the lines, Michael Salla figured out that he could make a lot more money selling garbage alien stories to stupid people. And since then, and by the way, I've been told, I'm not sure if it's correct, but I've been told that he was fired from his college job because he was using college resources and posting stories about aliens, etc., and stupid stories, the same level of quality of garbage that he has been posting for years now. He was posting to the college's I don't know, websites or blogs or something. And, generally colleges don't want one of the people that is teaching at their university to be doing things like he's doing. You may remember Michael Salla as being one of those people who was what I call a Corey Good fluffer. That's right. Michael Salla is a fluffer. What's a fluffer? Well, for those unfamiliar with the porn industry, a fluffer is a guy or a girl, depending on, I guess if it's a gay shoot or a straight shoot. Anyway, The fluffer is the guy that gets the guy ready, gets the guy ready for the scene, pumps him up. That's the best description that I could give for one Michael Salla. And, occasionally I come across one of these people that I call cosmic con artists, and Michael Salla definitely falls into this category. I come across one and I say to myself, well, they're very uneducated. Maybe they really believe this stuff. But Michael Salla is a very educated man. There's no excuse for some of the things that I have observed him do. Now, despite what I think about Michael Salla, there is some very disturbing proof that he doesn't care that what he's selling is garbage. There's a famous story, actually, that Bill Ryan, who was an early critic of Corey Goode, by the way, that's the Bill Ryan from Project Camelot and the Avalon forums, is the person that we covered. Corey Goode literally paid someone to take pictures of Bill Ryan's home. And we have the Western Union receipts to prove it. So that he could intimidate Corey Goode critic Bill Ryan. But before all that happened, Bill Ryan was on to the fact that Corey Goode was a grifter with no proof of anything that he was saying. So early on, when Michael Salla got involved pumping Corey Goode's garbage information, his intel. I always love it that these guys say they have intel, and they're getting briefings, right? Corey Goode talks about important generals in the United States are giving him briefings. No, they're not. And that's all I'm going to say on that. But Bill Ryan reached out to Michael Salla early on in the Corey Goode fiasco and had a conversation with Michael Salla, and he recounted this on a show with Richard Dolan. And he told the story of how he told Michael Salla there's an awful lot of problems with this person, Corey Goode, before you are all chips in supporting him or helping him to spread his stories. You ought to see this evidence that I have. And Michael Salla replied, I don't want to see any of your evidence. I'm already fully invested in Corey Goode. Does that sound like a good researcher to you? Does that sound like somebody who's really looking for the truth? Or does that sound like somebody who is running a grift, a con, and doesn't care if the stories that he's peddling are true? I mean, a quick look through Michael Salla's YouTube channel will tell you what he's about. He's about the Galactic Federation, right? And the Octorian hybrids. By the way, I love this. Jimmy Church just had an Octorian hybrid who couldn't even really speak English on his show. And Jimmy Church was just like, yeah, that sounds amazing. Didn't even know what the girl was saying, claiming she's an alien hybrid. Of course, no pushback, no hard questions, no, did you get a DNA? None of that. So Michael Salla's into the same stuff, Octorian hybrids, this Elena, this Megan Rose, all these people that talk about all these battles in space that they're getting briefed about. Everybody's getting a briefing about the covert war, the aliens in our solar system and the moon bases and the Mars bases that nobody sees. Nobody sees. No amateur astronomer, no professional astronomer, no planetary scientist on Earth, nobody in NASA. Nobody sees these alien bases, but these people selling these garbage stories. It's the secret space program. And by the way, I would count Michael Salla along with Corey Goode for destroying serious research into the topic of the secret space program. They're responsible for making it a joke, for making it something that people laugh about. Because previous to Michael Salla and Corey Goode, we had good researchers like Catherine Austin Fitz and Walter Bosley and Dark Journalist and others looking into the reality of a secret space program. And to all the people who like to slag me for being so skeptical, they should know. I absolutely positively believe the United States especially has and has had for quite some time a secret space program. It's a real thing. One needs simply to look at the X-37B, which we know exists. We know when they launch it. We know it stays in space for years at a time, but none of us mere mortals, stupid citizens of the United States, are allowed to know what our government is doing with a spacecraft in orbit around Earth for years at a time. That, my friends, right there, that one data point alone is absolute proof of the secret space program. And very serious researchers, I mentioned Walter Bosley, I'm sure Joseph Farrell, Captain Austin Fitts, dark journalist, and others. Some would count Richard Dolan as well in that. Despite what I think of him, I'll give him the credit for that. Yeah, he was looking into the secret space program in a serious way. And so were others. And right around 2016, along comes this guy, Corey Goode. And what does Corey Goode do? He comes into the subject of the secret space program and he just shits all over it, destroys the whole effort that everyone was making, that were making progress into getting us the truth about what is our government is really doing in space that we're not supposed to know about. There was serious efforts underway. People were getting evidence. People were getting real data points, real evidence, verifiable proof of a secret space program. Then along comes Corey Goode telling everybody his science fiction fantasy Buck Rogers stories about time traveling and fighting reptilian aliens in space. And he spent 20 years in space, and then they age regressed him, and then they time traveled him to back right before he left, so nobody even knew he was gone. And they're blue chicken aliens, and oh my God, it is like a very, very bad episode of Babylon 5. It's not even a bad episode of Star Trek. It's that bad. So Corey Goode is telling his science fiction fantasy stories, and by the way, we're 6 years on now, right? Or 7? Corey Goode's been, 7, right? 4, 5, 6 years. At least 6 years, Corey Goode has been making a full-time living telling alien fairy tales. And what do we get? We get people like Michael Salla, who write whole books, including Corey Goode's unverifiable, unprovable, stupid stories. And by the way, again, despite my differences with Richard Dolan, I did learn a few things from Richard Dolan, and one of them is the concept of falsifiability. And this means that if someone tells you a story, there's a concept called falsifiability. Either I can prove that the story is true, or I can prove that the story is false. But if you can't prove either, then the story has no value. There's no evidentiary support in a story that you can't either prove is true or disprove. And Corey Goode specifically wrote his entire narrative so that you can't disprove him. Like, oh, you were in space for 20 years. Well, what about your friends and family? Could they verify that you were missing or gone for 20 years? Well, no, because then I was time traveled back and the age regressed me. You know, there's always some excuse, right? And again, an excuse for why there's no photographs, no evidence, no documents, no corroborating witnesses, except in Corey Goode's own imagination. And by the way, Panoramage on Twitter just commented correctly, very correctly, on Corey Goode. And what he was talking about is that, according to Corey Goode, the evil aliens are back in our solar system. But also, according to Corey Goode, 3 years ago, Corey Goode and his friend Gonzalez, that nobody ever gets to talk to, again, imaginary anonymous source, they kicked those evil aliens out of our solar system. But he contradicts himself, because now he's saying that the evil aliens have a base on the moon and all this nonsense. And instead of doing his job as Earth's galactic space ambassador, did you know he's our galactic space ambassador for the Galactic Council or the Orion Council or some council of aliens? I don't know. It's so stupid. It's so childish and ridiculous. And now we're all expected to believe that there's evil aliens, they have moon bases, they're invading our solar system. But instead of worrying about that, Corey Good is right now working on a documentary so that he can whine about people like me who make fun of him on the internet and say that his stories are childish, ridiculous, and stupid. So now that we know, I'm assuming most people here know how ridiculous, silly, stupid, and childish Corey Good and his Buck Rogers science fiction fantasy stories are that he claims are 100% true stories, And instead of telling the whole world about that, he's making comic books and documentaries complaining about people making fun of him on the internet. And when he's not doing that, he's suing everybody that sort of made fun of how stupid his stories were on the internet. Yeah, he sued many people. And those lawsuits have been dragging on through the courts. Nobody even made it to the actual court yet. It's all motions and nonsense for 2 years, but he has cost some of his critics upwards of $15,000 or $20,000 in legal fees with his frivolous, stupid lawsuit. Because you made fun of me on the internet, and all I did was say that I was Earth's galactic ambassador, and I time traveled, and I was age regressed. It's so silly, stupid, and ridiculous. And by the way, he also has a legal defense fund that you can give him money. But it's not a defense fund because he's not defending any legal cases. He's suing everyone. So it's really a give me money so I can sue and silence my critics fund. It's ridiculous. This whole story of this guy is ridiculous. And that's why it's very, very important that we point out that one of the people that enabled him, one of the people that pumped up his stories, remember I said he's the fluffer, is none other than Michael Salla, the king of bad eyebrows. And despite all my other problems with Michael Salla, I do want to announce something very special. And that is that all of us in UFO land are so sick of this guy. Jeez, cricket. So sick of this guy and his stupid eyebrows. We're all sick of his eyebrows, okay? So this is from Spooky, actually. Spooky is so sick of looking at this guy's bushy eyebrows that Spooky is willing to offer a $50 reward to whomever can convince this man to wax his eyebrows. And I will match that. So actually, we're up to $100 reward for anybody that can convince Michael Salla to do something about those eyebrows. There's no excuse for this, dude. There's no excuse for this anymore. You got to do something about that. It's terrible. So back to Michael Salla. Remember, he's a very educated man. He calls himself a researcher. But tonight we're going to see the quality of his research, because recently Michael Salla has decided to platform and give voice to none other than everybody's favorite convicted felon and fake psychic, Sean David Morton. I am going to share my screen 1 second. I want to get some images of this guy here so that just in case you're not familiar with Sean David Morton. And Sean David Morton was once a staple of UFO conferences. He was one of the guys that you may have seen on television back in the day. But some bad things happened, and we'll get into that. But here's Sean David Morton. Oh my gosh. I'm going to throw something. Apparently there's a cricket in here. I apologize, friends. So here we have Sean David Morton. And I'm going to just discuss some of Sean David Morton's various claims before we get into it. Wow, he must be a lover of cats. Great. So Sean David Morton has made a lot of absolutely stupid, childish, and ridiculous claims. One of his claims is that he worked with Gene Roddenberry to bring Star Trek back to life after the original Star Trek series ended. Sean David Morton claims that he worked with Gene Roddenberry. A fact check of that with people who were very close to Gene Roddenberry and know his whole history. Actually, somebody checked with the biographer of Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, who said, no, Sean David Morton did not indeed work with Gene Roddenberry. So here we got a guy who's running around telling everybody that he worked with the creator of Star Trek, and he was largely responsible for Star Trek coming back to television. And he also claims to have invented the concept of the holodeck and told Gene Roddenberry all about it. And also, he claims that he's responsible for Patrick Stewart getting cast as, Captain Picard in the new Star Trek because he was bringing X-Men comic books with him to hang out with Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek. So it turns out all of the claims that Sean David Morton makes are easily provably fake. Another of his great claims is that his father was one of the original astronauts and a test pilot. But some fact checking on that reveals that no, his father was not an astronaut, period. End of story. And of course, it's not just that his father was an astronaut. His father worked at Area 51. He hung out there with all the other test pilots, all of that, all complete and total garbage. Garbage. One of his other favorite claims is that he was trained by the Dalai Lama in Tibetan Buddhism and mysticism. And it is there, friends, where Sean David Morton got his superpowers. That's right. Sean David Morton claimed to get superpowers by training with the Dalai Lama. Now, multiple people have reached out to the Dalai Lama to ask him if they trained Sean David Morton to get his superpowers, but they've never replied. So what we get is, pardon me. So what we get is some stupid stories from this man. Now, some people may perceive that that is all harmless. Maybe he's a pathological liar. Maybe he just tells stupid stories. By the way, here's the latest photo of him that we have here, the most recent. Again, some people may say, what's the deal? So he told some, fairy tales about his background, about his family, about having superpowers. That's harmless enough, but it's not. Because several years ago, Sean David Morton began to convince people that with his super secret psychic powers, they should invest with him. And things did not go well. So there's multiple sources of information. It's easy with a quick Google search to see that this guy is completely and totally full of it. Completely and totally a garbage peddler. But that didn't stop Michael Salla from giving him a spot on his show. Just like it didn't stop Michael Salla from huckstering Corey Good's garbage. And by the way, right now, Corey Good is right now feuding with Michael Salla because apparently Michael Salla has now said that Corey Good is not credible. His information is not credible. And this, again, friends, is the Cosmic Con Shuffle. Michael Salla made tens of thousands of dollars working with and for, I believe, Corey Good, writing books about his stupid stories. Let's see, we have him, working at UFO conferences with him. I believe that Michael Salla appeared with him at multiple UFO conferences and other places. Next we get, geez, that's going to drive me crazy. Hold on one second. All right. And so, the point really is that Michael Salla is a very educated man. He should know when people are peddling garbage. But it's very clear that he doesn't care. Michael Salla doesn't care. But I would ask everyone within the sound of my voice, should he care to platform a man who has apparently hurt so many people? Because, my friends, I'm here to tell you that the story of Sean David Morton gets very, very dark. Very, very dark. 1 second. I'm gonna pull up an article here, and this is from UFO Watchdog. 1 second, friends. And by the way, in full disclosure, UFO Watchdog was sued by Sean David Morton for publishing inaccurate information about him. But it turns out that UFO Watchdog won that lawsuit, and Sean David Morton was ordered to pay his legal fees because it was a frivolous lawsuit. 1 second. Here we have an article. Sean David Morton sentenced to federal prison. And you'll forgive me, but I have to make this bigger in order to read it for you, friends. 1 moment. Okay, so let's get into it, friends. Here is an article about Michael Salla's new insider. Michael Salla is telling everybody, both I believe on streams and behind the scenes, he's telling everybody that Sean David Morton is his new insider, and Sean David Morton has access to all kinds of top secret government information. It's laughable, friends. Yeah. So this, my friends, is 2017. And by the way, now that we've sort of, given you the gotcha moment, Sean David Morton recently got out of federal prison. But here we have an article from September 18th. Today at 11 a.m., a federal judge sentenced bogus psychic Sean David Morton to 72 months in federal prison. That's, wow, 6 years. For his part in a tax scheme in which he was found guilty of falsifying tax documents, filing false tax returns while victimizing people for tens of thousands of dollars in a straw man redemption scheme, and defrauding the IRS out of nearly $500,000. Morton, who gained notoriety through the late night radio show host Coast to Coast AM and through New Age UFO seminars for his wild predictions and UFO tales, was convicted on over 50 felony counts. This guy is not just a felon, he is a felon 50 times over. He was convicted on 50 felony counts in federal court in early April 2017. Morton boasted he was simply the best when it came to making accurate psychic predictions, yet he never foresaw the coming of his own demise. Interesting that, people get to, this guy was telling people fairy tales about his psychic powers. Why didn't he see the feds coming for him, right? The same reason that faith healers do not work in hospitals, friends. All right, 1 second. Oh, I have some other information to share that is just gold about this guy. Federal agents originally arrested Morton and his wife in February 2016 as they disembarked from a conspiracy convention that took place aboard a cruise ship. Ironically, one of the charges against the Mortons was conspiracy. The Mortons were released after posting bond and later went to trial in federal court. Prior to their arrest, the IRS contacted the Mortons on more than one occasion, advising them the paperwork and forms they were filing were illegal and to cease filing them. When the Mortons continued to file false bonds and paperwork, in spite of reported warnings from the IRS, a federal grand jury threatened and indicted the Mortons on numerous felony counts. While prosecutors filed 56 charges against each of the Mortons, they had the option of filing in excess of 100 charges against each Sean David Morton and Melissa Ann Morton. Federal agents later served a search warrant on Morton's apartment and seized computers, mobile phones, documents, among other items. So I would submit to you that not only is this guy a criminal, he's a stupid criminal. When the IRS contacts you and says, stop filing those forms, those are illegal, you don't continue to do it, friend. All right. So Morton was advised several times by presiding judge concerning his outbursts in court. Oh, that's another thing. Sean David Morton is one of those. I don't know what you call that. What do you call that? Where they're like, oh, sovereign citizen. Yeah, he tried the sovereign citizen garbage defense in court, and it did not go well for him. Not at all. You know, that nonsense, like you don't, my social security number is not me, and you know, all that sovereign citizen nonsense. Those people talk a good game, but every time you see one of them in court try that ridiculous, stupid defenses, it doesn't work so well. And here we hear he served as this is another reason he's stupid. He served as his own lawyer in court. It says, quote, the court is familiar with the multitude of nonsensical pleadings Morton filed and stated in court throughout the course of his criminal case, which was not abated since his conviction. Morton's pattern of conduct of filing unintelligible pleadings began weeks after the initial indictment of defendants. The day Morton was released from his arrest, he filed unintelligible pleadings. Prosecutors in a sentencing recommendation for Sean David Morton. Great. So it's a whole story here, and I am going to, it is kind of a funny story, except for the fact that not only did he get indicted and arrested, but he got his wife indicted and arrested. Ooh. Here he is. The Mortons were living it up while filing for bankruptcy and claiming they were nearly homeless after they defrauded investors out of $6 million. This guy defrauded investors out of $6 million and later were charging people thousands for a phony debt redemption scheme. Great, right? It's just one of those things. And there is an entire history of this on UFO Watchdog. A look behind the facade, the Morton files. And we are going to be sharing some of that because that's a laugh riot, an absolute laugh riot, friends. So here we have, I'm going to share my screen once again. Bear with me, friends. Okay, here. Let's get into some of the stories of Sean David Morton from UFO Watchdog. So family history claims Sean David Morton grew up in an aerospace family where his father, a Navy aviator and Korean conflict fighter, Ace, was also a member of the original astronaut program. Fact-checking that, turns out both those claims were false. His father wasn't an ace and he was not an astronaut. When we get to part two, oh, here's the great one. Mr. Morton attended a British University International School in Cairo, Egypt. He attended Stanford University. Sean graduated with honors from USC with a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in drama. He's got a degree in drama and a Bachelor of Arts in political science, or does he? Including minors in organic chemistry and astronomy. His graduate work includes earning a doctorate in theology. BA in political science, 16 units shy of a degree in organic chemistry. Morton also claims in his biography that he attended Stanford University. And if we fact check that, we check the records, UFO Watchdog check the records. Morton does have a degree from that institution. The degree is listed as an arts and letters degree. Shirley Hazard, a student data specialist for Stanford University's Office of the Register, was contacted about Morton's claim of having attended Stanford. Harris stated, I am able to pull up any information for Sean David Morton. I checked the microfiche, and there is nothing listed under that name. Oh, so he didn't go to Stanford. Claim, Bachelor of Fine Arts in Drama, BFA from USC Juilliard program under the personal direction of John Houseman. The Juilliard School is among the world's finest for performing arts and was originally founded, yada, yada. Morton's claim has a few problems. USC has never had a Juilliard program and has no official connection with the Juilliard School. Meredith Gordon, representative for Juilliard's Alumni Affairs, stated Juilliard did not have a relationship with USC. So he lied about having some connection with the Juilliard program. He lies about, oh, it's great. And we also find out that his claims of having a doctorate in theology are also false. So this man lies a lot. This guy lies a lot. He worked with Gene Roddenberry, don't you know? And his father was an ace-5 fighter pilot and an astronaut, don't you know? Also, here's another claim. Tabang Bushi Monastery, Mount Everest Valley, Nepal. In 1986, Sean David lived in a Tibetan monastery at the foot of Mount Everest for 7 months. He studied the disciplines of Tibetan Buddhism with the Black Hat monks, where he studied ancient history, prophecy, astral travel, planetary healing, tantric sexual meditation techniques. Because, yeah, everybody wants to have tantric sex with this guy, right? Ceremonial dance, and many of the hidden mysteries of the universe. He also lived in the Dalai Lama's compound in Dharmuja, India, studying with him personally at the Tibetan University there. Fact, other than Morton's claim, no evidence have been found to verify that he spent time studying Buddhism. A few problems exist with Morton's claim. First, it was alleged that Morton was still living in California during the time frame that he was supposed to be at the Tangbucha Monastery. A person wishing to remain anonymous contacted UFOWatchdog.com. This person alleged that Morton was employed as a DJ at a nightclub called Hooligans in Torrance, California in 1986. The person stated, "It was a while ago, but I worked at Hooligans from 86 through 88. Sean had been there all year." So this guy got busted lying, saying that he was living in Tibet and that he was studying with the Dalai Lama while he was a DJ at a nightclub in California and was there the whole time. Great. Absolutely great. Absolutely great. And, you know, it just gets better, friends, because there is so much more of this. Here, we can go to part 3. Here's the part about where he lied, saying that he worked with Gene Roddenberry. And this is Roddenberry's actual biographer who gets back to him and says, I worked for Roddenberry on and off from 1991 to 83. Oh, no, this is Sean David Morton claiming that he wrote The Guardians. And we all worked on what Star Trek would eventually become. This is Gene Roddenberry Association. Busted him on that claim. Thanks for your reply. Your story has several problems. First of all, you claim you worked with Gene. Paramount had already decided that Star Trek was to become a series of theatrical films. Indeed, a made-for-TV movie was actually halted about 2 weeks before it began filming. All right, so that claim's problematic. Second, it was not Gene Roddenberry that was pushing Paramount to create a fourth network, but a high-ranking Paramount executive. And here we go. Gene did not hire Patrick Stewart because he looked like an X-Men character. Stewart was hired because the Star Trek producer that Gene had confidence in insisted to bring him on board. So again, Sean David Morton claims that he was responsible for getting Patrick Stewart his gig as Captain Picard. That's all fake. That's all fake. And that's from the Gene Roddenberry Association. So he just made up all this stuff about working on Star Trek, working with Gene Roddenberry. Wow. He also claimed that a program he co-produced was nominated for an Emmy in 1991. A PBS documentary he wrote called Fair Play about professional women's sports in the U.S. So he claimed it was nominated for an Emmy. KCET Television, a community television station in California, was contacted, and they stated, unfortunately, we were unable to locate the program information. This guy is so full of shit, he waddles when he walks. Listen to this crap. His education is fake. Oh, he worked on Star Trek with Gene Roddenberry. He was responsible for the holodeck. All that is fake. He trained with the Dalai Lama. All of that is fake. Now he's claiming that he got Emmy Awards, right? He claims that he worked with Bob Kiviat, and it turns out that that is also false. He claims he worked on Unsolved Mysteries. That is also false. uh, he's made claims about having book deals that did not pan out, and more, friends. And it just, look, it goes on and on and on. Oh, and now we get claims about his psychic powers and his remote viewing background. Sean claims he is a practiced astrologer. He has worked as a psychic and healer in both public and private capacity. He worked professionally for 3 highly respected national psychic hotline services. And he said he had a success rate of well over 90%. Here's the facts. Morton working with psychic hotlines service, there's probably no doubt of that claim. That does not qualify as highly respected psychic hotline. All right, so here is just a sampling of some of what Morton predicted never came to pass from 1997, 1998, and 1999. Here's all his false predictions. Tomes of Alexander the Great and Genghis Khan are found. Billions of dollars in gold and treasures will be found in Khan's tomb, which will be used to finance dangerous Chinese aggression. The Federal Reserve will crash. Paper money replaced by smart card. Card will contain all financial information for individuals. IRS will be gone by 1998. Clinton's scandal forces him to leave office. Al Gore resigns before Clinton leaves office as a result of either distancing himself from Clinton or being blackmailed by Clinton. Clinton names Ted Kennedy as the new vice president. Castro is overthrown in Cuba. A sexually transmitted disease is cured, probably AIDS. During the day, a UFO mothership is caught on film over a major Southwest city. Madeleine Albright is attacked by terrorists and is either hospitalized with injuries or killed. Scores of dams break open in California. Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, is sentenced to the electric chair. None of these things can happen. None of these things ever happened. Oh, great. Morton also claimed that he attended Stanford University, where he was part of Dr. Russell Targ's and Stanford Research Institute's original experiments in remote viewing. Morton also claimed to have been part of the SRI remote viewing project on the 20th of February 2003 broadcast of the Lou Gentile radio program. Yeah. Fact, Dr. Hal Puthoff was the founder of Stanford Research Institute's remote viewing program and served as its director for 13 years. Puthoff, an authority on remote viewing, was contacted about Morton's claim having been a part of SRI's original experiments in remote viewing. Puthoff stated, as founder and director of the SRI program from 1972 to 1985, I can assure you that he was not a participant in the original remote viewing experiments in the program. Oh, it's just great. Look, there's a part 5. There's just so much. This guy just keeps lying and lying. It's awesome. And this is the quality of Michael Salla's sources. Yeah, and he also claimed that you could go out and actually see flying saucers on a timetable. And by the way, for a while, he was scamming people doing UFO tours around Area 51, where he would say, we're going to, pass through this. He would say that he was showing people flying saucers, but it turned out what he was showing people around Area 51 were the Janet Airlines flying in. And that is a provable fact. He scammed people. Give me some money. I'll take you out in the desert near Area 51, and you can see the flying saucer tests that they're doing at Area 51. And what he actually showed them is regular airplanes flying into the base, but from a far enough distance and just a light in the sky, but he claimed it was flying saucers. He took money from people for years for that scam. So this is the quality of Michael Salla's new insider. This is the quality. This is why this subject is the subject of ridicule for many people, because of people like Michael Salla using a guy like that. I love it. I love it. What a great insider you got, Michael Salla, you dummy. You dummy. Are you that stupid? He can't be that stupid. And by the way, it's bad to make assumptions, but everybody that I know, I asked around just to make sure that, like, am I being unfair to Michael Salla? But I asked around to people that have been involved in UFOs for far shorter time than Michael Salla. And I have the emails to prove it, by the way. I emailed 10 people involved with UFOs, researchers, show hosts, experiencers that are very plugged in and interested in the UFO goings on. And I asked all 10 of them, are you aware of Sean David Morton, his arrest, and all the times he's lied? All 10 of them. Oh, yeah, that guy's a total bullshit artist. All 10 people I asked. And by the way, I asked believers, skeptics, researchers, show hosts that are skeptical, show hosts that are on the believer side. I try to be fair here to Michael Salla. So it seems clear to me that everyone that is, knowledgeable on this subject knows that Sean David Morton is a terrible, terrible pathological liar. But that won't stop Michael Salla from giving him a spot on his shit show. And by the way, I would like to share portions of their talk from YouTube, but I can't do that. And the reason I can't do that is because besides all these other things that Sean David Morton is an expert on, he's an expert remote viewer. He's an expert psychic. He's an expert Star Trek guy. He worked with Gene Roddenberry. He's an expert on aeronautics and the space program, since his father, after all, was an astronaut. By the way, Sean David Morton also claimed to be close friends with many famous astronauts, claiming that they were family friends of his father. And people reached out to those people, including Gordon Cooper and others, while they were still alive. And that was a lie as well. They never heard of Sean David Morton or his father, period. So I would like to be able to, share portions of that, of this talk that he gave from YouTube, but I cannot do that. Oh, this is a problem. Rumble is not letting me share. I have to go to Rumble. One second. It's an ad issue. Rumble, stupid. No, I don't know. It's not playing. All right. Well, we'll play just the teaser that he did leave on YouTube. Honestly, it's probably best. I'm having trouble playing the stupid video of Sean David Morton being interviewed by Michael Salla. The gist of the interview is all about time travel. And remember, Sean David Morton is an expert on everything. He's an expert on alien crash retrievals. He's an expert on time travel as well. And, I would just ask everyone within the sound of my voice. We've just heard, and by the way, there's not enough time to include every time that this guy has been caught lying. There's not enough time in the show to go over it all. He just lies constantly. So, some people would have to ask themselves, like, what do we have to do here? Why would you trust a guy who we have shown you lies constantly, lies through his teeth all the time? Why would you bother to listen to a guy like this tell you about time travel, tell you about alien crash retrievals? I mean, how many times do you catch a guy lying before you just go, this guy is full of crap? I'm not even going to entertain the crap that he is talking about, because it would be ridiculous to trust or listen to this guy. And yeah, that's so weird. For some reason, I can't play the, I'm going to put the Rumble. And by the way, the reason that I can't share it from YouTube is because Michael Salla had to take that interview down. Because besides being an expert on Star Trek, on remote viewing, on psychic phenomenon, on Buddhism, on having superpowers, on the aeronautics industry, on astronauts and space travel, alien crash retrievals. He's also an expert in medicine. And during their interview with Michael Salla, he said a lot of things that are against YouTube's terms of service. So the actual interview got taken down by Michael Salla, but it's still on Rumble, where you can post medical disinformation all you want, apparently. Yeah, so we're just going to play the preview. But what I am going to do is I'm going to go over to the live chat right now, and I'll just put Rumble interview here. I don't know why I can't share that, but honestly, the interview, we can save everybody a lot of time and just tell you that the interview is a bunch of nonsensical rambling from a pathological liar with no proof, no evidence, no corroborating witnesses, nothing. Just Sean David Morton spinning yarns. But as we have seen and displayed here, Sean David Morton is good at that. You know, I mean, it takes a special kind of liar to pretend that he was in Tibet when he was DJing at a club in California. It takes a special kind of liar to pretend that he worked with Gene Roddenberry, and not just pretend that he worked with Gene Roddenberry, but then he argued with the Gene Roddenberry biographer and the Gene Roddenberry Association. No, really, I'm not lying. I really did work on Star Trek and invent the holodeck and all this stuff. It is laughable, friends. It's absolutely laughable. So we are gonna cite fair use. Let me put up the fair use banner here. 1 second. This is fair use. This is a transformative work. We're educating the public, and we are critiquing the video that we are sharing. We are informing the public that Michael Salla uses pathological liars that have been convicted of 50 felonies to tell fake alien stories and to make money. And by the way, just the preview here, 9,000 views. So it's amazing to me, friends. Amazing. Absolutely amazing that you can platform a complete and total liar like this. And by the way, Michael Salla, you have no excuse for this. You're an educated man and you call yourself a researcher. How do you not know how many times that this clown, and that's what he is, he's a clown, has been caught lying? And by the way, we're not going to play the entire interview. We'll just play this teaser. It's like 2 minutes. In the actual interview, Michael Salla never asks him about just getting out of federal prison. Never asks him how he feels about all the victims he defrauded of $6 million. He defrauded people of $6 million. And by the way, I've talked to a few of those people. They were old people. This guy ripped off a bunch of retirees that happen to have a nest egg for their retirement. And guess what? All of them have to go back to work or do something, because they gave in many cases, these people gave their nest egg, the money that they had saved for all their entire lives. They gave it to this fake psychic who promised up and down that he had an accuracy rate so high that he would make them tons of money. No, he didn't. He stole their money, $6 million of their money. Old people. This guy ripped off your grandmother. This guy ripped off your great Uncle John, your grandfather, your great aunt, your great uncle, your great grandfather, your great grandmother, whatever. This guy rips off grandmothers. So pardon me, when I think about the victims of some of these people, I get angry. And pardon me if I don't say that, Michael Salla, you're a piece of shit for platforming this guy. You are a slimeball, disgusting. You are everything that is wrong with this. You are everything that is wrong with this. Why would you platform that? Why would you knowingly let this guy come and tell your audience fake stories about aliens? And by the way, I can say they're fake stories about aliens because all of his other stories are fake. There's no excuse. There's no excuse whatsoever for Michael Salla platforming a known pathological liar who ripped $6 million off of a bunch of old retired people. I mean, don't you have any conscience? We could see that Sean David Morton apparently has no conscience. He doesn't care about his victims. What about you, Michael Salla? Do you care about the $6 million that he stole from a bunch of old people? And by the way, I haven't caught up with the story, so I am not aware if the victims got the money back, but I am aware that his wife was funneling money out. She took $70,000 of that money out in cash. I'm aware of that. So for all we know, they hid the $6 million while they were in federal prison. And again, this is my speculation. I don't have all of the details about what happened to the $6 million that he defrauded from people. But, you know, you just got to laugh at this. You just got to say, like, this guy, Michael Salla, is a clown. This is something a clown would do. Actually, clowns have more respect for their audiences than this guy. He's not even good enough to be a clown. He is worse than a clown. I mean, I can't even like vocalize or get my head around the fact that Michael Salla just thinks this is okay. Some guy just got out of federal prison for ripping $6 million off of both the IRS, not that, you know, and by the way, I don't really care if somebody rips off the IRS, but when you rip off a bunch of old people to the tune of $6 million in an investment scam, I care very much. So I can't even, like I said, I don't even know what to say. Like Michael Salla, we've seen the evidence and the proof that this guy is a pathological liar. We've seen the evidence and the proof that he was in 2017 convicted of 50. He was convicted of 50 felony counts. And the fact that he only did 6 years is amazing to me. And he didn't even do the 6 years. He did under 5 and got out of federal prison. And we've talked about this. We'll get back to it. But right now, we're just going to share that this is the teaser reel, friends. This is you got to watch the full interview. And this is Michael Salla unveiling the secrets of time travel and reverse engineered alien spacecraft. Yeah, I'm sure that a guy who lied about working for Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry is really believable and credible and trustworthy when he starts telling you about time travel and reverse engineered alien spacecraft. And sure, even though he lied about living with the Dalai Lama and living in, you know, Tibet, and he lied about his daddy being an astronaut, and he lied about getting an Emmy Award, and he lied about his education. He's telling us the truth about those reverse engineered alien spacecraft, right? And he's telling us the truth about time travel, right? I mean, it takes a special kind of stupid to platform this guy. It really takes a special kind of stupid. And again, I reached out to more than 10 people, but let's just say 10. I know I reached out to at least 10 people. Everybody knows this guy was a pathological liar and a criminal. Michael Salla has to know this, and he ignored that in order to sell fake stories to stupid people. Because this is what they do, friends. We've talked about this many, many times. It's that lie by omission. Oh, this guy's telling stories about reverse engineered alien spacecraft and the secrets of time travel, and my audience will love it. There's just one problem. The guy got convicted of 50 felonies recently and just got out of federal prison. And his wife got convicted of 50 felonies, and I guess she just got out of federal prison. And he ripped off all those old ladies, right? And he has a history of pathological lying and scamming people, and a history of pretending to be a psychic when all of his predictions laughably fail. But let's just lie by omission. We'll just let him. This is exactly how this con works, friends. This is exactly how the UFO scam works for many people. They make tens of thousands of dollars doing this. You get a guy like this questionable history, questionable past, provable pathological liar, and you train them a little bit. You work with them. Talk to them before the show. Well, what are you going to talk about? Oh, you should throw this in too. They do that, friends. They do that. And all you have to do as the cosmic con artist, like Michael Salla, is you have to let him talk about the aliens. Let him talk about that reverse engineered alien spacecraft. Let him talk about time travel. Just don't ask him any questions about all of his failed psychic predictions or his fake Emmy Award or his fake education or his fake doctorate in theology. This guy is telling people he's a doctor. No, he's not. His degree is fake. So see, this is exactly how it works. The lie by omission. You get a questionable guy like this. And by the way, many others do it. It's not just Michael Salla. We have verifiable proof and evidence that Kerry Cassidy of Project Camelot does this. And she uses rapists, child molesters, and murderers and does the lie by omission. She lets rapists, murderers, and child molesters tell fake stories about aliens, and she just forgets to tell her audience that they're rapists or murderers or child molesters, right? This is the Cosmic Con Shuffle. This part is called the lie by omission. Well, I'm not lying, and we're just having a conversation, and I'm just letting people, explore their truth. It's his truth. Might not be your truth, but it's his truth. It's garbage. It's garbage peddling. It's cosmic connery at its finest. That's what this is. That's how this works. And Michael Salla should be ashamed of himself. And he should be cut from this thing like a cancer. He should never be allowed to speak at a UFO conference for the rest of his life for this garbage alone, for his willingness to willingly deceive people with a garbage, fake psychic, convicted felon, pathological lying fraud. He should be stricken from the entire UFO community, like he should be cut from it like a cancer. We don't have time for people to be shoveling this level of garbage in. We don't have time for somebody like Michael Salla, who either doesn't know or doesn't care about the history of his so-called insider. But let's hear the quality of information from this psychic who worked with Gene Roddenberry, who got superpowers from the Dalai Lama, who was in a remote viewing program run by Dr. Hal Puthoff at Stanford Research Institute, who is a doctor in theology, who got an Emmy Award, whose father was an astronaut, and whose father was a test pilot that worked at Area 51. Oh, wait a minute. All that is bullshit. But we're going to listen to this guy about time travel and reverse engineered alien spacecraft. Great. And by the way, this, you true believers that attack me for being too critical, this, you true believers, is why I do attack people, why I do expose these things, because I see this everywhere. All these guys are not to be trusted. If they're selling you this kind of garbage, they should not be welcome here. Everyone. Oh, suddenly, speaking of Star Trek, I just thought of that Klingon ritual, where you get banished, right? Michael Salla should be banished from this thing, and everybody should do the Klingon thing and just turn their back on him. He should be dead to everyone, invisible. Whatever he says, nobody listen. Whatever he puts out, nobody buy it. Nobody watch him. Nobody book him anywhere, because this is the problem. This is why people make fun of this thing. And this is why I'm so critical, because again, friends, this is one example tonight we're giving you. And this kind of thing, people using questionable sources that are criminals or rapists, or in this guy's case, a felon convicted of 50 felony counts. Listen, I understand people make mistakes, but you're talking about 50? He got convicted of 50 felony counts of fraud, of defrauding old ladies and old guys, right? Old retired men. He got convicted of 50 felonies for fraud, all fraud related charges, every single one of them. But we're supposed to believe this guy is unveiling the secrets of time travel and reverse engineered spacecraft. Pardon me if I'm a bit skeptical that this guy really knows the truth about time travel and reverse engineered alien spacecraft. Let's listen to some of this garbage. You know what? I'm glad what happened. For some reason, friends, I'm having trouble. We were going to play, I don't know, I was only going to do 10 minutes of the actual interview. This is a 2-minute teaser clip from Michael Salla. There's something going on with Rumble, and I can't play the actual interview video, but I did put it in the live chat in case you want to laugh at this clown. And Michael Salla fluffing him up. God, I love this.
Military individuals or people on the inside or people who really know what's going on, they understand that the Russians are no threat. They understand that the Chinese are really no threat, that they're all controlled by the same black box mother corporations. The real fly in the ointment for them, or the spanner in the gear, is Vladimir Putin, because Putin is public enemy number one to the New World Order. He had some kind of come to Jesus moment where he's
so see, even in this few seconds, Sean David Morton is a Trumper and obviously a conspiracy theorist, but he's one of those people that is running around telling everybody that in the Ukraine war and just in the world stage in general, Putin is the good guy, right? Putin is raiding biolabs, right? According to him. I did not say that. YouTube algorithm gods, I'm not saying that. This stupid fake psychic that got convicted of 50 felonies and says he works with the Star Trek creator, Gene Roddenberry, even though he didn't. He said that. All right. AI algorithm gods, I apologize. I did not make that statement. He did. Anyway, he's one of those people. Putin is the good guy, right? A murderer who is right now ordering his military to shell kindergarten classrooms in a foreign country is the good guy. Okay, great.
He's, in his mind, defending Christianity on earth.
Edgar Casey made that prediction where Russia would become the hope of the world after the demise of communism.
Yeah.
So,
and by the way, I feel fully okay with my criticism of Michael Salla's eyebrows. Besides being a piss poor researcher, fact checker, vetter of guests, look at this guy's eyebrows. This is ridiculous, Michael Salla. You can go. Listen, I even checked. Okay, that's how tired I am of Michael Salla's eyebrows. I'm tired of this guy and his bushy ass eyebrows. Okay, he lives in Hawaii. I even know what city he lives in. I checked. There is something like 27 spas where you can get your nails done, get a foot massage, and get your eyebrows waxed. And if Michael Salla will contact me by email or whatever, I'll pay for it. I will pay him to go get his eyebrows taken care of. For years, I've had to look at this. This is gross.
All right. He made that prediction, I think, in the 1930s.
During the 30s, he said we become great friends with Russia.
And that kind of shows that Russia at this moment really is involved in, and I agree with you that Russia's involved in taking down the deep state.
And Michael Salla is also an idiot, because somebody needs to explain to me why all these, right-wing I don't understand that whole Putin is the good guy. I don't get it. Michael Salla is apparently stupid too. As educated as Michael Salla is, he doesn't have an excuse. But this guy, Sean David Morton, has a completely, totally fake made-up education. He's not really a doctor. He just plays one on YouTube.
Putin said, if the deep state had a throat, I would strangle it with my bare hands. When you have Nathaniel Rothschild coming out saying that Vladimir Putin is public enemy number one to the New World Order, and the most, everybody talks about disclosure, and the most remarkable disclosure comment ever made was when Trump it was at a summit with Putin, and Putin says to Trump to his face, He says, by the time you're done being president of the United States, you must inform people of the truth of 9/11 and that there are 27 alien races that we're dealing with on this planet,
Oh,
3 of
wow.
which are actively trying to destroy us. This is the president of Russia.
I'm going to make a news clip out of that one. Apparently, Putin told Donald Trump that there are 27 alien races and he needs to tell everybody the truth about it. And we need to trust this guy, a pathological liar with a fake education who rips off old ladies to the tune of $6 million. Listen, there's a reason, friends, that he had 50 felony counts he was convicted of. It takes an awful lot of old ladies with a good chunk of money each to get to the level of defrauding $6 million from victims. And this guy's fresh out of prison, and here he is spouting nonsense. I'm sorry, this guy is a joke, and Michael Salla is a joke, right? And I would like for everyone to please do me a big favor tonight. I don't generally ask this, but I'm not sure. I think Michael Salla has blocked me on Twitter for my previous criticisms of his support of Corey Good and other idiots. So I would like, I make it our policy here that if we're going to talk smack on somebody, we give them an opportunity to respond. So I am going to take one second. I am going to take the link to this actual video and I'm going to put it in the live chat. Please tweet this to Michael Salla. We want to make sure that we inform Michael Salla just in case he is simply uninformed of his new insider's history. I don't think he's going to care. But I'm writing in the live chat, please tweet this video to Michael Salla. And I am going to put the link to our video broadcasting right now into the live chat. I would appreciate it and listen, only a few of you need to do it. I should ask our, close allies here to do it, B. Baker and Six Sense and Spooky. So maybe, never mind. Listen, the purpose of this video is not to harass or to, demean or slander Michael Salla or anyone really. It is to educate the public. That is my goal and intention here. My intention is to educate people, especially those people who don't know that Michael Salla is using this level of garbage peddler, pathological liar as a source. We want to be as fair as possible, however. So if Michael Salla is willing to have a conversation, I promise I will be respectful. I won't even mention his eyebrows once. And he and I can debate or have a conversation, whatever he prefers, about whether or not you should believe a man like Sean David Morton. I think that would be beneficial. And I think people would like to see that, because I would love to hear Michael Salla's defense for exactly why he thinks it's a good idea to bring the public and more intimately to bring his audience a guy that is at this level of fakery, fraudery, and bull. And by the way, boy, this always bothers me. Michael Salla, with this level of garbage, has 131,000 subscribers, and he has almost 9 million views. Yeah, that gives me depression, friends. It really does, because Michael Salla does no fact checking. He will accept any story whatsoever that people bring him, including Corey Good, David Wilcock. Let's see, Tony Rodriguez. Let's see, Randy Kramer, who are all secret space program frauds, provably. I don't know what else to say. I hope he's making a lot of money, right? I hope when he wakes up in the morning and combs his eyebrows and looks at himself in the mirror while he's combing his big bushy eyebrows, I hope he, what does he do? Does he say to himself, I'm doing real good lying to people, selling fake alien stories to stupid people? right? And next day he wakes up, boy, I did real good yesterday, selling fake alien stories, using pathological liar criminals as sources and insiders so that I could get rich selling stupid people fake alien stories. That's what this is about, friends. It's not about the truth for some people. It's a grift. It's a con. And a quick look of Michael Salla's videos shows, that some of them are getting 40,000 views, 50,000 views. So the 50,000 view ones, that would be about $500, right? I guess. Last time I made an estimate, I was a decimal point short. So you'll pardon me if I just check. Yeah, my math is probably right. It's getting 50,000 monetized views on YouTube, depending on the different measurements they use, the CPM, the RPM, whatever. It's about $10 per thousand. So that would be, he's getting $500. He got $500 probably for this Sean David Morton interview. I can't tell for sure because it's been taken off of YouTube, but before it was taken off of YouTube, I think it was over 35,000 views, probably well on its way to 50. It seems to be that 50 to $60,000 views is pretty common for Michael Salla. There's some videos where he's gotten 75,000 views. Here's one video. This is okay. You know what? We're not gonna. We are not going to share Sean David Morton's video, but I will share with you part of a video that Michael Salla did that he got 107,000
Buried
views
Ukraine
for.
space.
And we're just going to laugh at this because this is absolutely so stupid. And by the way, I'm sorry, I didn't realize my screen was still sharing while I was trying to cue it past the commercial. So hey, whoever that advertiser was got a free commercial on our show. All right, friends. Oh, you know what? Let me do this one more time. That's better. We still have our fair use banner. This is a transformative work. We're educating the public. We are discussing it and critiquing the quality of Michael Salla's so-called secret true information that he shares with the public via his YouTube channel. And you can find that. Just search Michael Salla, Salla. And you too can laugh at the garbage. Man, I got to do it again. 1 second. You too can laugh at the garbage that Michael Salla peddles to stupid people. This one's great. Buried Ukraine space ark in Kherson activates, so Russia takes over. That's right, friends. According to Michael Salla, the reason that Russia invaded Ukraine is because there is a buried space ark in the city of Kherson, and it activated. So Russia had to take over Ukraine to get to that space ark, friends.
Buried Ukraine space ark in Kherson began activating, so Russia takes over an entire city and region for the first time in its special military action.
You're listening to Exopolitics Today with Dr. Michael Salla.
He's a
Your
doctor.
source for the uncensored truth regarding the human,
He really is a
extraterrestrial,
doctor.
global, and political
He
agenda.
really does have a
Click
doctorate.
the like button and
He
subscribe
does
to
have a
this channel.
doctorate in bullshitology.
And now, here's Dr. Michael Salla.
News
love it.
reports have confirmed that the Russian army has captured the Ukrainian port city and region of Kherson, where an ancient space ark is claimed to be buried. According to two independent sources, the space ark is buried under Oleshki Sands National Nature Park, which is only 25 kilometers or 15 miles east of Kherson.
Yeah, and this is great. He says, according to two independent sources, but then he doesn't name the sources. So where are these sources? Can I interview the sources about the space ark? Come on, Michael. Come on, Dr. Salla. Oh, God. Come on, Michael Salla. Can I talk to your sources? Because I want to know all about the space ark that's buried under the Oleshki Sands in Kherson, Ukraine. And by the way, in full disclosure, I have Polish family in Poland, and some of them are hosting some of the refugee families, the mothers, the children. So I've gotten to hear a lot of stories that have humanized the tragedy that is taking place in Ukraine right now. And for this doctor to be willing to profit from the misery of those people being invaded shows you what kind of a man he is. What kind of a man says, that Ukrainian war is really terrible. And, there's children being murdered, bombed, killed. They are bombing schools of young children, kindergartens and nursery schools, and they are bombing daycare centers where babies are at. They are bombing hospitals. So for Michael Salla to be aware of all of that, as most of us are if you listen to the news, and say, boy, that's really tragic. All those children are dying. But you know what? Everybody's hearing about this war. So it gives me a great opportunity to make up. I believe these stories he just makes up. Where's the sources? I believe that he just makes up these stories, and he is profiting from the misery, the absolute misery of children being murdered and people being killed and people running from their homes to other countries like Poland and surrounding countries to escape the devastation of war. But instead of doing something to help those people suffering, Michael Salla is going to exploit that misery and sell people, stupid people, stories about aliens using the war as a background.
The space ark is said to be activating and predicted to eventually begin flying into the air. Kherson is strategically important to the Russian military as it contains a freshwater canal to the nearby Crimean Peninsula, which is the only warm water port of the Russian Navy. Russia's capture of Kherson is vital for ensuring the long-term viability of its Crimean facilities, but also fulfills a new strategic imperative to gain access to and control the
Hold on, friends. Why did that happen? That's weird. That is so wacky. Okay, hold on one second, friends. Experiencing interruptions? Yeah, right in the middle of a live show. Thanks, YouTube. Hold on. Okay, one second. One second. We will share our screen again here. Jeez. All right. I got to hear more about this space ark. I don't know about you, but hey, there's a space ark, right?
To gain access to and control the alleged space ark. I was first told about the Ukraine space ark by my longtime source, JP, who currently serves in the US Army and has been on covert missions to 2 other space arks. One mission was to the moon.
Oh, God. This guy is on... He's got secret sources named JP that have been on space missions to other space arcs, right? Yeah. Gabber Beast TV says, I want to see the space arc. Show us the pictures. Well, all we can get is drawings right now, but there's evidence, but it's not out yet. Okay.
And 2 others have been to the Bermuda Triangle area of the Atlantic Ocean. All 3 missions were jointly conducted by the US and China, and the second Atlantic Ocean mission included Russia, which had found its own ark but was not giving the US access.
There, Gabber Beast TV. That's a picture of the ark. That's a space ark, man. Come on, that's a space ark. Gabber Beast TV.
February 11, JP gave me coordinates to a space ark he was told exists in Ukraine. The coordinates are for Oleshki Sands, which is the only natural sand desert in Ukraine and has long been a tourist attraction. The origins of the sandy desert have puzzled geologists, and there has been speculation that it is a result of historical overgrazing by sheep. JP later described what he was told about the Ukrainian space ark in briefings and by others participating.
You got to mention the briefings that your sources are getting. Everybody's getting briefings, right? There's a space ark in the Ukraine. That's why Russia invaded, according to this Dr. Michael Salla and his anonymous source that's in the United States Army that goes on secret space missions to other space arcs throughout the solar system. Jesus, this is like the worst science fiction movie you've ever seen, but worse.
Participating in the covert missions to ancient arks being found all over our solar system and on Earth. On February 24, he left me the following voice message describing his new intel about space.
Oh, you got to mention intel. Dr. Michael Salla is getting intel.
Arks being found in Russia and Ukraine.
Remember I was telling you about the ark, how there was Russians surrounding the ship that we were on. They really wanted this information. That's why they went down to the ark with us. We gave them the opportunity to come down. We didn't have no problem, bringing the Russians and sharing information. We knew that this was huge. This is worldwide huge. This is humongous. So all the world leaders need to know about it. So,
but all the world leaders don't know about this. But some guy in the army that leaves Michael Salla voicemails knows all about this classified. It's so stupid. This is just
they
so stupid.
did not keep their side of the promise by not taking us to their ark. But now, with this happening in Ukraine, that ark that is over there, I guess they want that information for them. And we were about to go to that ark. Don't be surprised that they started that invasion in that old Bolshevik Desert National Park. And probably this could be one of the first ships to go up in the air.
Oh, but this report was months ago and nobody has seen the space ark take off yet. So I guess this was all garbage. This was garbage. This whole story is garbage.
Everybody see now that the nation in the world is on Ukraine, this probably is going to be one of the first ones that's going to go up, and everybody's going to see it.
Oh, everybody's going to see it. We didn't see it. So that means this story was garbage, right? Right, Michael Salla? Over-promising and under-delivering is a key component of the Cosmic Con. Yeah, there's this huge space ark. It's over there in the Ukraine, and it's going to go up in the sky and take off, and everybody's going to see it. Gee, I haven't noticed anything on the national news or the international news. All I've noticed is that the war rages on. More people are being killed, murdered every single day. And instead of being concerned with the reality of the real world that we live in, the real cruel world that we live in, where people are being killed and murdered, Michael Salla wants to sell you a fake story about a space ark in Ukraine.
And everything's going to stop to a halt. Everybody's going to be shocked because of this.
JP's revelation that the space ark found in Ukraine is activating and US military authorities were ready to go in to investigate is very telling in terms of why Russia chose to intervene now.
Yeah, and by the way, Michael Salla doesn't vet any of his sources. It's very clear. If he vetted his sources, he would not have platformed somebody that just got out of federal prison for ripping off old ladies to the tune of $6 million. So, and he didn't vet any of Corey Good's claims. He just believed everything Corey Good said. So pardon me if I don't believe that Michael Salla's anonymous source was really in the army or had any knowledge of a space ark under a desert in Ukraine.
Even more astounding is his prediction that the Ukrainian ark will eventually begin flying into the air. Indeed, with the world's attention currently on Ukraine, a flying space ark will instantaneously become a global event of profound significance. On February
Well, I will agree with Dr. Michael Salla on this one point. A flying space ark is so much better than a buried space ark, right? A buried space ark, that's pretty interesting. But a flying one that just activates itself in the middle of a war zone, wow, that's a better story.
26, during my What's Coming in 2022 webinar, I publicly revealed for the first time.
By the way, what's coming in 2022? That was garbage, and you could buy it on Vimeo. Maybe we're gonna buy it, just so we can show you that everything that Michael Salla said is coming in 2022 and beyond didn't happen. None of it happened, friends. None of it.
What JP had told me about the Ukrainian space ark. I subsequently received important corroborating information from Thorhan Eredyan, a fleet commander of the Galactic Federation of Worlds, as relayed.
Oh, my source is a fleet commander, an alien of the Galactic Federation. So Michael Salla is getting contacted by galactic space commanders, and Elena Danyan is another nutter that talks about the Galactic Space Force and all this nonsense. That's his corroborating witness. Thorhan Eredyan. And come on, Michael Salla, if you're really in contact with extraterrestrials, can't you get us a picture? You got to make somebody do a drawing of the space commander you're talking to. Dr. Michael Salla is talking to space commanders.
Through Elena Danan, a former French archaeologist. 2 days after my webinar, Elena relayed to me the following information from Thorhan about Russia's military intervention into Ukraine.
Oh, I'm sorry. So Dr. Michael Salla is not talking to the alien directly. He's talking to Elena Danyan, who's talking to the alien that we can't see a picture of or, any proof of. Sure.
And the deep state's involvement with the ark. Quote, this is not an invasion of Ukraine, but part of the cleansing operations. The deep state was attempting to activate the ark, which they had found many years ago, buried underneath the sand in the lower southern part of Ukraine.
I don't know if I can make it
the
through
ark
this whole thing.
Activated, so it was
so
time
stupid.
Putin got his hands on it. There is a second ark in the north of Russia, but Putin already has control of it.
Oh, and by the way, one other thing I wanted to mention is if Michael Salla really cares about the truth so much, and he is 100% certain, right, that there's a space ark buried under that desert, you can get on a plane and go to Ukraine. Now, I know it's a war zone, but you want the truth about those aliens, don't you? And that would be smoking gun 100% proof of alien visitation on Earth if you were to get a shovel and dig that sucker up. But instead of doing that, right, or he could hire somebody to do, you can go get a Soldier of Fortune magazine. You can hire a mercenary to go into a war zone for you with a shovel, get you some evidence, take some cameras, get some proof. Instead of doing that, even though he's 100% sure that ark is definitely a space ark and it's under a desert in the middle of Ukraine, right? Instead of going and getting any evidence or proof, what does Michael Salla do? Well, he makes a YouTube video. That's what he did. He made a YouTube video.
End quote.
Garbage.
Thorhan's information corroborated what JP had been told.
And you notice, he's got corroborating evidence. He's got one anonymous source, and he's got some nutter that talks to aliens every day with no evidence and no proof. But to him, hey, that's corroboration.
Told about 2 space arks found in the region, one in Russia and another in Ukraine. It's very significant that the deep state has had a strong influence over Ukraine since 2014 and was attempting to activate the space ark found in a sandy region of southern Ukraine, Oleshki Sands. On March 1st, Thorhan revealed more about the buried Ukraine space ark. Quote, Putin has his hands on the other ark in the north of Russia. And he has been taught by positive extraterrestrials.
God, there's space arks all over the earth, but we have never heard about any of this except from Michael Salla. He must be a really great researcher because he found those space arks when nobody else, no credible doctor, no credible scientist found any of these space arcs, right? Just Michael Salla.
how to use this technology. It is information without consequence because this ark in North Russia is secured and in good hands, contrarily to the Ukrainian ark, which, through to this day, March 1st, 2022, is in the hands of the Earth Alliance. It is still fought for by the deep state military based in the south of Ukraine near the ark, buried in the sand.
Oh no, the Earth Alliance. It's okay, friends. It's in the hands of the Earth Alliance. The Earth
Forehand's
Alliance is going to
information
save the
corroborates
space
what
arc.
JP had been told about Russia's control over a space ark found in its own territory. By March 2nd, Russia had defeated the Ukrainian military.
And again, he's using actual real world events to try to prop up his story. This is the David Wilcox super duper prover maneuver. You throw in all kinds of BS, all kinds of fake sources, fake stories, and then you throw people one real verifiable fact from the real world. And for some reason, that's supposed to validate all of the garbage, fake information that has been coming out of his mouth this whole time, because he's going to give you one real news story and somehow connect these events together, right? So that means it must be true because this part of the story is true. No, it doesn't. And don't stop talking about corroboration. You got nutters. You got wackadoo people that talk to aliens. And you got an anonymous guy in the army leaving you voicemails. That's not corroboration. That's not proof. That's not evidence. You're supposed to be a doctor, an educated man. And how dare you use a tragedy like war to sell stupid people this kind of garbage?
And had gained full control over Kherson, including Oleshky Sands National Nature Park. Kherson is the first Ukrainian city to fall to the Russian military, which is highly significant given claims of an ancient space ark found in the nearby Oleshky Sands. The discovery of a space ark that is activating under Oleshky Sands provides an understanding of why Russia has decided to militarily intervene in the Ukraine civil war that has been ongoing since 2004.
Oh yeah, the war has nothing to do with geopolitics. It has nothing to do with NATO. It has nothing to do with Ukraine's plans to try to join NATO and become more westernized and a part of the Western world. It's all about a space ark in the middle of a desert in Ukraine. That's the entire reason why the good guys, the Russians, are invading. But don't worry, the story has a happy ending because according to Michael Salla, the Russians are the good guys and they're trying to gain control of the space ark from the deep state, and they took over Kherson.
Something dramatic must have happened behind the scenes to motivate Russia to intervene in a civil war that was essentially frozen as a result of a lack of progress on implementing the Minsk Agreement signed by Russia, France, Germany, Ukraine, and the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. While some claim that the Ukrainian army was preparing a lightning military campaign to retake the contested Donetsk and Lugansk administrative regions of Ukraine, others claim that US-sponsored biolabs were the real target of...
Well, that's where we have to end it. I'm not sure, friends, how YouTube feels about false claims of those type of facilities. So, but he's going to tell you that the war is about, this is Q garbage. This is 17th letter of the alphabet, 4chan garbage, that the war is about the good guys, the Russians, taking out those facilities. And I'm sorry, there's no evidence to support that. But that won't stop Dr. Michael Salla from claiming that the Russians are the good guys and this whole war is about a space ark and those facilities. It's not about what it's really about, which is, you know, military aggression and about evil. All right, we're gonna stop this garbage peddler's video. I'm sorry, but there's only so much that I can take. And then when he starts getting into those facilities, that may get us a strike for even playing it. I don't know how he's allowed to do that, but this is where we're at. And this is where we find ourselves. So here's what we will do now, friends. I am going to put my hat out and remind you that there's a few ways that you could support us. And one of the ways is by throwing a couple of bucks in our hat. There's a super chat button down there. There's a super thanks if you're watching the replay. You can send us a couple of bucks on YouTube. You can send a pledge via PayPal or Cash App. Instructions to do that are in the description of the video. But I'm here to remind you that all of our content is free. We also have a Patreon for as little as $1 a month where you get some extra content, a monthly show journal, a backstage pass, early access to our production videos, and more. But you guys know that I hate putting things behind a paywall. And I always say this, if you are a big supporter of our show here and you're having a tough time, don't worry about the dollar. Just email me at truthseekershow@gmail.com. I have a special email list for people in reduced circumstances or whatever. And no questions. You don't have to give me a whole story. Just say, hey, I'd like the Patreon benefits, but I'm a little short, or whatever you want to say. And we put you on that list. All of our content is and always will be free. The other way that you can throw a couple of bucks our way is there's a join button here on our channel. And in that case, you get all of the Patreon links and benefits, plus some added extra YouTube benefits as well. And priority reply to your replies on the videos, and maybe a little more access to me. And on that note, I'd like to say that I do try to reply to all my emails, but it's getting tougher and tougher as the show gets bigger to do that. But we appreciate all of you reaching out to us. Also, another way that you can help us is to like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos on your social media. It really does help. I'd also like to remind everybody that's listening in audio podcast land that you're missing half the fun. We love and appreciate all you people listening to the audio podcast. And in full disclosure, one of the reasons that I didn't know that. Somebody's got to get me a clip. In full disclosure, one of the reasons that I made the audio podcast is I've gotten messages from several people who drive things for a living, whether it's a truck or an Amazon delivery vehicle or a UPS truck or whatever, who educated me and told me that if they should happen to be listening to my show and it's a video and they get in an accident, they'll get in a lot of trouble. They are only allowed to listen to audio things like the radio or audio podcasts. So that's one of the reasons that we do it. Also, just to increase our reach, some people prefer the audio podcast. They listen to me while they're jogging, and we love all of you guys. I just got a nice message that I kept somebody company during a 2-hour workout, and we love that. But again, you're missing half the fun if you're only listening in audio podcasts land. So go on over to YouTube click that little magnifying glass. It's the search tool. Put Truth Seekers, one word, in the search bar. You'll see a strange guy with sunglasses pop up. That would be me. Go to that channel. That's our channel. Smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and you too will be notified when we're doing a live taping here of the podcast, and you can come and be a part of the show. Don't just listen, don't just watch. Come and be a part of the show. Be a part of the live chat. You are most welcome here. So we're gonna read the super chats, and I see we had one who tells me that Jimmy Church is currently mocking me, I hear. So am I going to need a clip of that. I'm going to try to go back as far as I can in the live chat, but I saw from our YouTube analytics page, we did get one super chat, and we read and recognize and thank every single super chat. So, and we'll be wrapping things up shortly here. So if you're feeling generous, now's the time to get those super chats in. We read every single one of them, and we thank every single person for their support. So Carbon 14 with a kind and generous $2 super chat says, Jimmy C is mocking you. And I don't know what that's about. So somebody in the live chat, I'm going to be paying attention now. Let me know what that's about. Love to know more about that. Bernie Conkin is here and says, holding it down from Facebook land, my friend. Yes, for those unaware, we broadcast right now live on Facebook, on Twitter, and on our YouTube channel here. We'll soon be expanding to more streaming locations. We do also have an Odyssey channel, and a bunch of other channels that on different video platforms that we have not maintained very well, including Rumble and BitChute and Daily. Yeah, we have a bunch of them. I got to do a better job of that. Richard Warner is here and says none of the cons check their sources. Well, you shouldn't let something like facts and evidence or a witness's credibility get in the way of a good fake alien story that you could sell, Richard Warner, right? You gotta, it's the lie by omission. Like, well, this guy's telling great alien stories. We'll just forget to tell everybody that his education is fake, that he's not really a doctor. Jimmy Church does the lie by omission, right? He had Dr. Jonathan Reed, fake Reed, right? Mace is here and says, I found this show on Twitter today. Well, we're glad that you found us, Mace. And if you're interested in these topics, you should know a few things. First of all, I'm an experiencer myself, but I started going very deep down the rabbit hole. And what I found was a lot of con artists, a lot of liars, a lot of fairy tale hucksters that sell fake stories. And so sort of organically, the show went from me just interviewing people as a believer in, you know, much of this stuff to being an awful lot more skeptical. But unfortunately, I think that we need someone to clear the garbage off the field. You know, you're not going to win a game while there's garbage everywhere on the field to the point where you can't even play. So these UFO hucksters and celebrities, they sell garbage. And we do a lot of work exposing that here. So if you're really interested in the truth about these topics, that won't offend you. I have been experiencing a higher level than usual of people attacking me on Twitter. And interestingly, they never really attack the shows where we present proof and evidence like tonight. We've given you ample and supportive evidence and proof that Sean David Morton is a pathological liar with a fake education that conned $6 million out of old ladies' pockets and just spent 5 years in federal prison, having been convicted of 50 felony charges. Myself, I wish that someone would have saved me the time, because in full disclosure, pardon the pun, I used to listen to even Sean David Morton when he was on Coast to Coast AM. Yeah, I would listen to him tell us all about those alien spaceships that are flying above Area 51 and all kinds of stuff. I did not know that he was a pathological liar at the time. So, Mace, I think you're most welcome here, but I think that you should be given that disclaimer that we're a little skeptical. You know, we don't just repeat talking points from UFO celebrities or claims that they make. We actually go and check, is this person telling us the truth, right? Yeah. So welcome, Mace. Please do subscribe. I hope that I will see you again in the live chat. You are most welcome here. Oh, and he says, yes, totally agree. It's where we find the field now. Yeah, absolutely. B. Baker says, Sean David Morton, while he was on the run from the law across the country, called into other people's podcasts for interviews from a phone booth. Yes, I'm aware of that. By the way, you might be interested in knowing that besides Michael Salla giving Sean David Morton a pass for ripping off hundreds, I think, of old ladies to the tune of $6 million and just going to federal prison for 5 years, Kerry Cassidy of Project Camelot, she's buddies with Sean David Morton, and he can do no wrong. And the government framed him because he was getting too close to the truth about aliens. Forget about those 100 witnesses that can tell you exactly point for point how Sean David Morton ripped them off of their life savings. We shouldn't listen to them. We should listen to Kerry Cassidy, who's going to tell you that Sean David Morton got railroaded by the deep state or something. It's garbage. And anybody that supports this person is garbage. Sean also defended himself in court, and it was hilariously bad. Yes, I have some of them, and maybe sometime we'll read some of the transcripts. He filed nonsensical court ramblings, you know, that I'm a sovereign citizen and you don't have a right to try me, right? Richard Warner says he doesn't want the truth. He wants money. Yeah. In the case of Michael Salla, for sure. Yeah. But, you know, when I see this kind of stuff, it really does make me, I get depressed when I see that, you know, for example, Michael Salla has 9 million YouTube views. We haven't reached 1 million yet, not 1 million yet. We're just over 500,000. But we have a handicap here called the truth. It also depresses me that Michael Salla presenting this level of garbage guests and witnesses, including Sean David Morton, who is a convicted felon. Again, he was convicted of 50 felony counts of fraud. He has 131,000 subscribers. So we could see that if you're willing to throw your morals, throw your ethics in the trash, and just sell people garbage fairy tale alien stories, you can make tons of money. I'm not sure exactly, if I were to look, like how many videos does he put out? Yeah, he puts out a couple of videos a week. So he's making probably about $1,000 a week on YouTube, maybe more. Plus he's got his private, you know, webinars that you can purchase, and probably a Patreon and everything else. A conservative estimate would be that Michael Salla is making, I don't know, at least $50,000 to $100,000 a year doing this, selling people garbage, stupid people. And, you know, I, for one, think that is wrong. Bernie Conkin wants to know where the slides are. Yes, no slides tonight, right? I have an aversion to creating slides. Craig William, he's got a very convincing retelling of the legal events that might sway a concerned listener of another version. Yeah, I mean, you know, a conspiracy theorist can certainly spin yarns, right? Connect dots that aren't there, call the judge corrupt, find some dirt on the judge in the case, and, you know, explain away why you got convicted of 50 felony counts. Stop it with the slides. No slides tonight. I'm not doing any slides. I got enough to do. By the way, we will have a new strange story debuting this week. I'm also going to put up a couple of production videos, and those will be on Patreon tonight, and they will debut shortly here. Yeah. So wasn't this an episode on the Stargate TV series? Yeah. There was a space arc in the Stargate TV series. So that's what these guys do. They watch bad science fiction and they take notes. I have seen plot lines, Richard Warner, from obscure science fiction, old science fiction. Like, I have seen plot lines and things that I'm sure these grifters have stolen from Babylon 5, Buck Rogers, and Battlestar Galactica. So I don't know what these con artists do, but I'm pretty sure, you know, and by the way, Richard Warner, I'm going to get that together. I've saved clips of some of these people, and we can compare and contrast the original sci-fi series that I believe they stole some of their stories from and what they've said. It is going to be a laugh riot. I'm sure that they sit around and they watch old science fiction, and then they invent these stories, get some fake sources, or pay somebody. By the way, another thing that occurred to me is you can get anybody to do a voiceover and read things on Fiverr. We can make up a fake insider tomorrow. We could do it tonight, where I just give a guy a script, and then I could say, he left me this voicemail, you know? So pardon me, Michael Salla, if I don't believe you. It's too easy to fabricate when we don't get to know who the anonymous source is so we can vet them. He doesn't vet anybody. It's very obvious he doesn't check the background of anybody that he has on his stupid channel making these ridiculous claims. Salla's original UFO over a nuke base is highly questionable and most likely not true. Yeah, I agree with you. An expanded teaser on the big case that involves many folks in the UFO community. Can't do it, Amy Collins, but I will offer you this, Amy Collins. If you email me at truthseekershow@gmail.com and you agree to be sworn to secrecy, I could tell you a little bit more about it. And I can give you my cell phone number, because I'd rather just talk to you than, try to explain it in email. Crypto Alchemist says 2 thumbs way up for acknowledging slides, 2 slides trolling comments. Yeah, people love to troll me over slides or no slides, right? Sun Rose says, I found some articles that mention space arcs before. I need to refind and investigate. Yeah, it's a common thing. Remember, there's supposed to be a big, huge spaceship under the ice in Antarctica. That could be considered a space arc too. And by the way, Michael Salla pushes that garbage story too, and storyline, just like Linda Moulton Howe, just like everyone. And Sun Rose says, you deserve to overpass the subs of these frauds. Well, we're playing the long game here, and I'm not willing to sacrifice, ethics, morality. It's called Truth Seekers, and we do our best to find the truth here. I give everyone my word that I will not lie to you, not knowingly, not intentionally. Now, I may get a story wrong. I may get a fact wrong. My research may be flawed, but if that happens, we'll talk about it and we'll discuss it, and I will apologize for getting something wrong. But we certainly, there is a cricket somewhere. I apologize for the cricket. Hey, we have quite a lot of people in the live chat, and we have one live viewer right here in the studio. It just happens to be a cricket. Now, I'm going to go nuts trying to get this cricket out of here later, because I hate that. Mostly because there's a lot of audio files that listen to the audio podcast. And if that audio podcast has something like that, they email me. Also, something else that you should know about is tonight it's only 58 degrees outside. It's a very cool evening. So I have the door in here closed. And by the way, I have no pretension. So I can tell you I'm in a garage that we just use for storage mostly. So I cleared a spot so that we could stream during the summer without dying in an attic room that I can't really broadcast from. But there's no windows in here. There's just a door next to me that goes outside, not a garage door. The garage doors are in front of me, but the, like the side door to a garage, like a house door. And I have to open that when it's hot or I'll die in here, even though it's sort of a basement garage. Does that make sense? So when I have that door open, you can hear nature, crickets and birds and bugs or whatever, frogs occasionally. And the audio people, they email me and complain. And one time they said, what is that? A nature ambiance track that you add to your show? It's way too high. You need to lower it. So I don't know if I'm supposed to have a talk with the critics and the frogs outside to keep it down because their level is too high. I'm doing the best that I can here. I really am, guys. The good thing is a couple more weeks and I'll get to go to my preferred place to work, my office. And I can work in my office, but I have to have the air conditioner going the entire time. And even if I shut that air conditioner off for an hour or two, it gets unbearably hot in there. It gets over 100. It's like an attic room. So I can't broadcast in there. But a couple more weeks, I will be able to broadcast from my preferred place to do it, my office where I do all the research and do all the video editing and whatever else the show requires, guest booking and all that stuff. And I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to going back and working from there, because in the interim, using this temporary studio, I did manage to get a bunch of stuff working. So now in the office, we have satellite tracking, we have airplane tracking, and more. And I'm working on getting some cameras that I can mount on the roof of my house so that maybe we'll do some sky watching. And if we see a strange object, we'll be able to instantly check it with the satellites, make sure it's not an airplane, eliminate those possibilities. There's a lot of interesting new capabilities that the studio, my preferred studio, will have very shortly. That stuff's there now, but I just can't broadcast from there right now. So we will be looking into it. Cosmic Neighbors is here, and now's a good time to remind him that he has a 3D printer of mine to fix. I'll talk to you off air, but yeah, we have a one last summer blast this weekend. It's Labor Day weekend, and I'll be going there on Thursday, coming back on Monday. So that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That's 5 days at the cabin. That's my kind of heaven. And then after this weekend, my wife doesn't go anymore. She doesn't like it when it's cold there, or even when it's chilly, really. Like it'll be 40 at night there in about 2 or 3 weeks. So the winter comes fast to the mountain where my cabin is. She doesn't go. So I will be there every weekend anyway, for the coming foreseeable future. So Ron, you're welcome to join me, and we will have, I'll have whatever food you want or refreshments, anything that you want, you get it. I will also be hopefully writing a book there this winter. It's very difficult to try to concentrate with kids running around screaming. So, I'm going to work it out with my wife that I'm either going to go to the cabin and work on the cabin, but there's only so much I can do. There's a little bit of finishing work inside, some molding, some trim. I got to put a ceiling in the bathroom and some other stuff, but that's not going to take more than a weekend or two, a couple weekends, maybe 3 max. After that, I'll be free to all winter go there and just write. I'm working on 2 separate book projects, and more about those later. Cosmic Neighbor says 40 degrees. Now you're talking. Wreaking Havoc says that's good camping weather. By the way, Wreaking Havoc, I got a whole bunch of cameras, and I'd like you to visit. You're welcome to visit as well. And for anybody local to me, how the cabin visiting deal works is either you come to my home and leave your car in my driveway, and I'll drive you all the way to the cabin, or if you prefer, I'll hook you up with the cabin location and you get there yourself. We'll have drinks, refreshments, and all the food that you could ask for. Wreaking Havoc, I'd like to go there because Wreaking Havoc is perhaps, I don't know what you would call that, like a summoner? For those unaware, we did a previous show of Wreaking Havoc. You can check my channel and watch that show. Wreaking Havoc has a lot of strange, weird shit happen around him, and I'd like to observe him at the cabin where we often see UFOs and weird things, and see if that phenomenon and the orbs and all the weirdness and shadow beings or whatever's going on with him follows him to the cabin, because there I'll have many cameras and other things. So any comments or questions for me, please put them in all capital letters. And we want to thank Carbon14 for the super chat, kind and generous $2 super chat. And he says Jimmy Church is making fun of me, mocking me. Don't know what that's about, but we'll certainly find out, right? We'll certainly find out. One second. I'm just going to check in. Oops. Wrong. I zigged when I should have zagged. I got the wrong thing. I will also check in. Almost forgot, but I will check in with the PayPal. One second. We read every super chat. We read every PayPal pledge as well. And we thank new members. If you become a member during the show, we thank you as well. I get a notice. Wow, look at that. One second. We do have a kind and generous person that sent a PayPal pledge. And that would be Andrew. He does not include a message. Thank you very much. He sent $10 in Great British pounds. We love all you people over there across the pond, usually listening to the replays. But thank you, Andrew, for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. Next time, add a note. If you do send a PayPal pledge, please do add a note. And then give me your chat room user ID and any message you want me to read out. And we would be happy to do that for you. Thank you all for the support. So any questions or comments for me, please put them in all capital letters. Mike, member Mike, thank you for being a member, says, write a book about how freaking cold it is. Yeah. Kepsa says, Wreaking Havoc is a paranormal magnet. Yeah, and I need that. We're going to try to capture some things on video. Wreaking Havoc says deal. Yeah, I'm only in Warminster, Wreaking Havoc. It's probably easier if you just come here, or if you're kind of on the way, I'll just pick you up. All right. But yeah, and all you got to bring. And by the way, I have a new deal too. I'm not going to force anybody to, into slave labor or anything, but I got to collect a lot of rocks, stones for this stone porch that I'm building. And it sucks. And even if you just want to come and sit there and drink beer next to me, by the way, I'm still off the sauce, 87 days, and keep me company while I collect rocks. That'd be fine. But if you do want to help collect rocks, after this coming weekend, I have open weekends. And the cabin sleeps, I don't know, 4 or 5, so I'm open to having friends of the show come and have a free weekend at the cabin, as long as it doesn't get weird. I don't know what I mean by weird, but, you should be aware that I don't want anybody that is under the influence of heavy drugs, if you're a cannabis user, I don't care about that. If you're a drinker, I don't care about that. But I don't want anybody on anything else. I've had my rock days with that stuff, and I'm a family man, and I just don't want to be around it. Occasionally, I think about those days, and the fact that I survived them is amazing. So, that's my only requirement. Nobody, I don't really want anybody bringing a bunch of drugs or doing anything too wacky, right? And you can have a good time, sure. And I'd be happy to supply alcohol if you want to drink. I'll be continuing my sobriety for the foreseeable future. Wreaking Havoc is a stonemason. I did not know that. In that case, I'll collect the rocks and you build the porch, right? You build the patio. I don't know if you saw it, Wreaking Havoc. I'm gonna try to find the where is it at? Wow, I must tweet a lot of crap. I'm gonna show this for the benefit of Wreaking Havoc. I'm not a stonemason, Wreaking Havoc, but I have built a stone shower, stone hearths, a stone floor in the living room, and now I'm building a stone patio. Here's my collection of natural stone collected from around the property, but the pickings are getting slim, and I got to start digging for them now. I have taken all the stuff off the surface, Wreaking Havoc, and now you really got to dig for this stuff. And here's me starting the stone floor. Yeah, and this is the stone floor of Wreaking Havoc, but this is 1/3 of the floor. I got to do it 2 more times. So quite a project. I could use all the help I can get, and I'd be happy to have you. We'll try to film some aliens or shadow people or orbs or whatever the hell's going on with Mr. Paranormal Magnet, right? Weird is going up there to watch Steven get his rocks off. Yes, that is very weird. That is very weird. Hey, I want to mention, look, we have stone drunk recovering meth addict, totally little wacky though. Oh, okay. Well, then you can understand why I don't really want somebody like tweaking their ass off with me all weekend, like stuck there with me, right? Betty Double Kick Chick is here, and welcome, Betty Double Kick Chick. And I noticed that Betty Double Kick Chick has found our Discord where you can chat with like-minded weirdos 24/7. And you too can find our Discord. I'm sure B. Baker will share the link so that you can join our Discord and chat with like-minded weirdos, right? Betty Double Kick Chick says, I've seen his work. Wreaking Havoc is an excellent stonemason. I wish I would have known that before I built a stone shower and before I built stone hearths and stone floors, Wreaking Havoc, I've just now learned about sponges. I didn't know that for those that don't know, like, it's a good idea if you're building a floor, after you do the cement, the masonry mix in between the stones, you sponge down the joints, and the stones you sponge off with a little bit of water, and it comes out much, much nicer. I didn't know that. So my first stone floor is very rough, and I had to take a grinding wheel and sanders to kind of clean it up. And but you learn as you go. Betty Double Kick Chick. So the new floor that I'm doing has come out much better than the living room floor. Everything at the cabin is a is a learning experience. Terry Joyce says, too bad I am this late. Sean David Morton is a serial fraudster. I agree with you. You should have did this show with me, Terry Joyce. I could have used somebody else talking about what a fraud this guy is. You could send Rican down to walk to your neighbor that's starving for some human interaction. Yeah, well, there's a couple of people there that are like that. And I know, they're, some people are kind of like off in the mountains by themselves. And several, they're referencing, I had mentioned that, I go on walks through all the dirt roads and trails around my cabin. And there's some, like one of them's a disabled veteran and he's sort of a shut-in. He lives by himself. So he sees me walking near his place and he comes out to talk to me. If he catches me, sometimes I have headphones on or maybe I don't go down his street that day, but some people need that human interaction. They don't really have anybody to talk to. So I stop and talk to him and I do him some favors. He does me some favors. Not my rabbit hole. Terry Joyce says, I need to get here earlier. I was tutoring. That's no excuse. You should have told the person you were tutoring, look, I don't care if you're going to fail your test. I have to go watch Steve Cambion on Truth Seekers right now. And that's more important than you, right? Forsaken Truth says, Stephen, thank you. And keep lowering the grifter boom on these bastages. Yeah, I think it will, right? Argument. I don't know. Somebody's talking about an argument. So any more comments or questions from me, please put them in all capital letters. Otherwise, I'm going to bounce on out of here because I still have Patreon videos to make. Actually, I have to bounce on out of here if I'm going to make the August. I've got to make an August show journal for the Patreon members. So, yeah, friends, that's all I got for you tonight. What I will say is that Dr. Michael Salla is not a stupid man. He knows the people that he is platforming are questionable at best. After all, Sean David Morton was convicted of 50 felony-related charges. Why should we trust anything that guy has to say about aliens, knowing that he's ripping off old ladies to the tune of $6 million? It's kind of ridiculous. But that's where we're at, and that's where we find ourselves. And if you listen to some people out there in conspiracy land, I'm the bad guy for pointing these things out. I should just do my own thing and not worry about what other people are doing. No, people should know that they're being peddled garbage, fake disinformation. And until we get rid of all this garbage, fake disinformation, I really don't think the real work can begin, because we will spend all of our time plowing through garbage. And I, for one, am a supporter of cutting these people out of this thing like a cancer. Get rid of them, all of them. Be fair about it. But if you get caught doing something like we have shown you tonight that Dr. Michael Salla just did, they got to go. All these people got to go. They shouldn't be here. And they certainly shouldn't be making tens of thousands of dollars providing this level of garbage, so-called intel. It's not intel. It's stupid tell. It's for stupid people. So for tonight, that's all I got for you, friends. I may be back tomorrow. Actually, I'm pretty sure I will be, but from the cabin. So we will probably be broadcasting a little bit later. I have a real hard time making it from here to the cabin in just a few hours. So I have a hard time making that 9 p.m. showtime, but I'm going to try. Otherwise, it will be a 10 p.m. showtime, and we're going to do a fireside chat, and I'll have some new things to share with you. Can't tell you how much I'm glad to spend some time with all of you tonight. Thank you all for joining us. No place that I would rather be than right here. But I do have some other things that I got to do tonight. And so let me go and take care of that. I want to thank all of our kind and generous benefactors, Patreon supporters, channel members, PayPal pledgers, Cash App senders, super chatters, and super sticker purchasers. You make the dream work. Thank you all for your kindness, generosity, and support. So that's all I got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you. Even you, Michael Salla. I will pray for you that you get up off your ass and you stop lying to people to make money and you go back to doing something worthwhile with your life. God bless you, Dr. Michael Salla. And God bless you, Sean David Morton. I hope you stop lying to people and ripping people off. I hope you learned your lesson after 5 years in prison. I will pray for you as well. And I will pray for all of you. And I hope you'll pray for me. I need all the help I can get. So, God bless all of you. Until next time, good night, friends.